final session of today, session 4, is our panel discussion. This has been a highlight of our events over the last few years. This is a chance for our hosts, Anna and Hugh, to take a seat and be part of the audience. This is a session where people can see the diverse pathways of success and can identify skills to enhance progression. This session is not about cows and grass. I promise there'll be one in a few weeks' time. Just a hint. Rather, it's about the business fundamentals that influence the outcomes that enhance the gold standards of success. So listen in. We hope you can walk away with 1 or 2 key principles to put in action tomorrow. Not next year, but tomorrow. These are principles around mindset and how we operate as people and what we do in our businesses. This is an interactive session where you can ask questions, so please do raise your hand or use Slido. So myself and Grace are going to be facilitating today, and Grace is going to be moderating questions coming in via Slido.
Hello everyone and welcome. My name is Grace Waldon and I'm a rural manager based out of Te Awamutu with ASB, but I actually grew up in Tokoroa and I am not used to this cold weather, which is crazy. But to introduce our panellists today, first up we have Eoin and Sian O'Mahony, a couple who came to New Zealand in 2013 on a 6-month OE from Ireland and who have progressed incredibly well. They've built their way up through multiple contract milking roles into she milking jobs and now taking a huge step, purchasing their first 450 cow farm in an EP in Wharepapa South. They're sharp operators, integrating well with their farm owners, staying financially disciplined and always thinking about the long game. Next up we have Bas Nelis. This is someone who's definitely seen the highs and lows of farming and built real strength throughout. He's farmed through the GFCs, low milk prices, gaining experience across she milking, lease opportunities and navigating family farm transitions. And over time he's steadily grown his scale and responsibility and now owns over 1,900 cows and multiple properties. And finally we have Chris and Steph Ferguson, a young couple who are making some seriously smart moves in farming. They started out with low equity and worked their way through contract milking and are now stepping up their she milking job from 400 to 600 cows on the 1st of June. They keep things simple and efficient. They lean on great mentors and they aren't afraid to ask the tough questions. And Chris and Steph, they're a really cool couple who are building a lot of capability along the way, and you guys really complement each other well. So I'll pass on to Steph, who's going to start with some questions before we head to the questions from you guys.
Super. Thank you, Grace. Let's give these guys such a warm clap. This is massive. This is a massive feat to get up in front of everybody here today. They've shared their journeys with us, and they're going to share some of their magic with you guys all today. All local farmers, all farmers that I've known for a reasonable length of time, so it's awesome to have you guys with us. Now, thinking about your farming journey so far, sometimes we can wind back the clock and think about the moments when we've taken a big step up, whether we've been challenged with a new opportunity, we've been challenged with new knowledge, we've been challenged with a new farm team. Would anyone like to share a time in their farming journeys that they've been offered a big step up and they've taken it? What did it look like? What did it feel like? What did it mean to you?
Is that going?
You've all got mics.
Is that going? Oh, yeah, sweet. This question got sprung up on me, so I'll just have a quick thing about it. Yeah, probably the first one I would have been when I was 19. I was doing my OE, and it was a low payout year. I got offered a 50-50 share milking job on a family friend farm. It was offered to, must have been April, May. I was offered to 2 other people before me. Same thing. I had no money at the time. I had farmed in New Zealand. I'd farmed, so I was 19. I started managing at 17, so I'd done a year and a half farming. At the time I just decided to, I just took it and ran and decided to go for it. So that would probably be my biggest start. And at the time I had no money, so I was fortunate enough to be guaranteed in the position. And I always look back at it as that's probably the key moment that really started me off. The first year I made no money. I think 40 grand. I think I've done the first year. Second year I was very fortunate. I bought cows at 12.50, and then they went up to 2,200 the following year, and that really got my step going. But the key take on that was probably through my whole career, timing's never right. I was never ready for it, and you just sort of just did it, and it just fill in the blanks later.
You want to go? Or? You go. I suppose kind of similar. I was kind of making the decision to, if I wanted to be a full-time farmer and I wanted to get ahead, that our life is going to be in New Zealand and we have to leave everything behind. So no family, no support, no money. And if we're going to do it, we have to do it here. Hence why we have a baby on the stage now. It's kind of just up to us, and it has always been kind of up to us. So that was it's a challenge, I suppose, that doesn't stop being a challenge. Like, it's not a challenge you get over because it's perpetually there. We've got amazing friends that we can lean on, but we don't have that family support, I suppose. So that's been, I suppose, a continuous challenge that we faced all the way through, really, I think. Yeah.
Just having to think, not quite the same jump as the other two here, as much of an extreme, but would have been when I was about 18 and I just started farming. I was working under an owner-operator, and I was away at rugby, and then I got a call that I had to come back because he had a heart attack. So that was kind of like a moment where I was put up where I could step up, and then from there opportunities come. Ended up managing that farm for him, and then contract milking, and then he's also been a bit of a mentor moving forward. So I don't know, that was just an opportunity that come up, and I guess you got to just take them as they come and not shy away from it.
I'm hearing a theme of key support people and mentors. I know for Chris, he, in the situation that you're referring to, you've developed a reputation for your skill and your commitment, and someone identified you as having, you given the opportunity, and you put yourself into the situation and you kind of rose to the opportunity. And that was around continuity, consistency, and just doing a great job on the farm that you were on. The three examples that we have now, if we were to say in each of those examples, what was more important? Was it the money or the opportunity or what you could learn from the situation? Or was it the honour or the situation that you were put in? What was it? For you, Bas, I don't know if it was about making money on your first share milking job. What drew you to it?
For me, it's always been challenge. Money's never really been a big thing for me. I guess it's a challenge of making the money, and it's like a running race. You can achieve so much, but for that farm, it was just challenging to get to be able to do it. At that age, you sort of think, oh, this is well beyond me, but you challenge it, and you made it work, and you achieved it, and you can look back and go to the next thing and find a new challenge.
Yeah, awesome. What about you, Eoin and Sian?
Yeah, I think you kind of nailed it there, Bas, really. It's just about pushing yourself and trying to do better than you did already, and trying to improve and get to a better position. Like, money is like shit. There's never enough money, no matter how much money you have, you'll always want more. We see that everywhere, but it's about forcing, becoming a better person, becoming a better farmer, trying to, push yourself on to the next thing,
Definitely not about the money. I think just having those clear goals in the beginning, especially for us, we kind of always knew we wanted to own a farm. There's always a few bumps along the way, but I think you have to stick to what you believe, it can be possible. But yeah, there's a lot of work along the way. So yeah.
When you say stick to what you believe and stick to your goals,
Oh, I guess it's very hard. You know, everyone doubts themselves, and there's always people out there ready to say, like, oh, you can't be doing that, or, you know, that's not the right way to do things, or, like, everyone's got their own way to farm, and that's not, like, wrong. So everyone's got their way of doing things. But so I think, well, we sat down really early on, and it was like, this is what we wanted to do. And I think even with the doubters, and even with when things go wrong, you just have to dig deep and keep going. Because farming's not easy.
So have you guys identified, I'm hearing a couple of themes coming. Obviously mentors are really important, challenge, setting goals. What about skill gaps? Like, is there definitely in all three examples, these examples of when you might not have had the skill, or you might need to have learned something new, you might need to go on a fast track. Have you guys identified skill gaps along the way?
I've got a lot of skill gaps. From when I left school, I always kind of just assumed that I wasn't that great at school and stuff like that, and I was good at sport. Well, okay at sports and pretty sure at everything else. So I always thought when I left school I was just going to be a labourer for most of my life, and whether that's good or bad, I had pretty low expectations, and so everything else has been a plus afterwards. But going into self-employment, there was just a little bit of learning, because I'd never set myself up, or my parents were never in positions where they were self-employed. Just learning the basics around, running a business and stuff like that. So that's probably, and that's still something we're working on as well. So.
I'll also first to admit I've got a lot of skill gaps, because I would not consider myself a farmer. I've had to, come onto the farm, but figure out where I can add some value in our partnership. So that's looked more like a supporting position rather than someone turning up to milk the cows at 4 a.m. every day. So I've had to figure out, well, where can I build my own skills, and attended things like understanding your farming business, and I keep an eye out for different seminars and other places where I can learn something to bring back to the business myself, if I'm not going to be the one on farm every day.
So actually, I haven't mentioned it, just Hugh and Anna are attending Mark and Measure tomorrow. And that is another one of our business courses that is there to build capability and financial acumen. And I think that's the journey that Steph's on now. So she's found herself in a she-milking arrangement, married to a wonderful man, having her second baby, and on a journey to build knowledge to contribute to the farm business. So, yeah. And how about you guys? How about you, Bas? What skill gaps have you identified on the way?
I'd like to say I'm just fucking awesome. I didn't need any, but...
You said you learnt how to do a budget on the back of an envelope. Who taught you how to do that?
Probably early on, primary ITO was... Ag ITO at the time was pretty amazing. And I think I see a lot of guys go for university, and they're obviously a lot smarter than me. But doing the ITO was real good, because you could practice it as I was doing it, and that was huge for me. So budgeting, cash flows, I still do the same cash flows that I learned in the ITO course, and those have been amazing in the business. I think it's probably, to me, it's been one of the most fundamental courses for my business growth, is that knowing and doing those cash flows on every year has been huge. And then same with that pasture management side of things. Mark and Measure, amazing thing as well. I still remember the old wagon wheel. Look forward to doing that, huge. And the picture too. Yeah, that's been good.
So who can do quick maths? Bas has nearly 2,000 cows, and he's nearly 20. He's not 20, he's nearly 40. So he's grown significantly every year. You must be doing something right. And how about you, Owen? Moving to New Zealand would have been a big adjustment?
Yeah. I was kind of like relearning everything, I guess, But it's the further we come down this track, the less I think I know. You're a cocky little prick sometimes, and you come in at 20 years old, and you're like, kind of what he was talking about earlier, like you think like, oh, I need a plate meter every paddock, and everyone who doesn't is a bad farmer. And then the further you go down the line, the more you realise that the more you don't know, if that makes sense. So like I feel like I know less now than I did when I started, but it's just because I suppose your world is being expanded all the time, if that makes sense. So like it never stops. You know, whether it's over a run with the boys or whatever like that, you're bouncing ideas off them, or you're doing your ITO courses, or you're doing days like this or market measure. You know, just I suppose.
So how do we keep growing and learning now as the adults that we are, and the environments that we're in? How do we assure that we keep learning? What do you guys do around your sounding boards?
I think just the whole networking thing, like Huge says, it's putting yourself around those people that are doing well and achieving well, and you bounce ideas off each other. That's probably been the one thing going forward, and probably driving too. Like I think, you know, for me, it's always just been a little bit above Hugh. Something just to push you along.
Oh, what? You suck. I thought I did my turn, did I? What was the question? What?
About our sounding board, how do we
Oh yeah, just
maintain
drink
the-
more rum, eh? Just yeah. But not, like I say it as a joke, but get off farm and surround yourself with good people. Like mentors are really cool, and like you have someone that, you know, like a farm owner you respect, or an old boss you respect, but like you're gonna talk to them every 6 months, every 3 months. You're gonna, like, if you're surrounded by good people, if you're surrounded by good farmers, and you naturally kind of gravitate to each other anyway, you know, it's and then you just bounce ideas off them, and the good, the bad, the ugly, you know. That's yeah.
Hugh's made a comment, he's always on the phone, calling out the people he needs to talk to. During our discussion phase, Chris dropped in a very interesting quote, and he said, how did it go?
You don't have to be the smartest person if you know what the smartest person's doing.
Can you explain?
Is that what it was? Oh, basically, when I'm unsure of things, I'll ring Hugh.
Then he rings Baz.
It's a vicious cycle. No, yeah, like you don't have to reinvent the wheel all by yourself. Like every time, there's other, like, just with the network of people you know and you associate yourself with and stuff like that. There's good information out there, and people are more than happy to share it with you if you're keen and if you've got a good attitude and stuff like that, and if you're not being a dick. That's generally what I found anyway.
So when you were offered the first contract milking job, is that what you lent in on? You just talked to people around you, figured out what you needed to do?
Yeah. Well, and it did seem like natural progression of where I wanted to go and what I wanted to do and stuff like that, and the numbers made sense more or less. So, that was kind of in my mind. It's like one of the steps to share milking, farm ownership, whatever you want to do.
Now, you've all taken different roles or involvement within the industry and the communities. Would anyone like to share what they're involved in now or in the past, and what skills or kind of networking it's offered them?
I'll take this one. For me, like, I think an important thing is, like, we didn't know many people when we came over here, so it was really important to get out to those groups. So young farmers was particularly, like, amazing, just building those sound friendships right from the get-go. And again, those are the people that you ring up and have a yarn to and see what they're up to, and, you know. And then also Dairy Women's Network was a fantastic opportunity. So I was regional leader for 5 years, and I ran the business group for Tirau, which was amazing. Like, really pushed me out of my comfort zone, because each month we'd do a different topic, regarding around the business. So having that accountability for the other people in the group for them to take something home each month as well. So just getting to know people and just knowing, like, the dairy industry in New Zealand is pretty amazing. Like, it's such a community. And everyone wants to support each other to do well. Like, no one's trying to tear anyone down, which is really cool. Not coming from a farming background at all. That's one thing, like, New Zealand is that farming community, that spirit. Like, everyone
rallies together, which is pretty cool. And there's always that support there.
And we get as much out of it as what we give in. Now, Bas was involved with young farmers from quite a young age.
Young farmers has been quite a big thing. Same as huge. And that was probably big for me. Is probably one of the things is all your mates at that point have all sort of grown around you as well, and you sort of once again I said feeding off each other, and just having that support when you're going through the industry. One thing for me when I started young, I think I started Young Farmers at 16. And it was for me, I saw people managing and I was sort of thinking, if they can do it, I can do it. And you sort of challenged to always just try. And I'm always competitive, so trying to be a bit better than the other person, but it's a wrong way to think about it. It's always been big. Dairy Industry Awards, another one too. So doing that was always quite massive for me too. Even when I started doing Dairy Industry Awards, seeing the people that won it, going to their field days, going, if they can, working out how they've done it. And I'm trying to sort of do that, and just being around the right people too. That's the big thing. Just all trying to drive off each other. That's same to those previous notes.
Same. I guess I did a little bit of Young Farmers, but probably not as involved as I could have been, and got as much out of it as I could have. But I was always trying to play rugby on the weekends as well, and that doesn't really go that well with farming, to be honest, either. But you only have so much spare time and whatnot. But there's friends I've made through there, and the Dairy Industry Awards as well. Got pushed into doing that when I was younger, and that was good. And like Bas says, the energy you kind of feed off, even like days like this when you come out and you see how well Hugh and Anna are doing and stuff like that. And when you surround yourself with people that are just doing well, you can thrive off it. So that's about what I got to say.
Now, we'd like to move to the floor for any questions. Feel free to thrash them away on Slido or raise your hand. Has this sparked any ideas for anyone? Can anyone relate to any of these stories? Feel free to jump in, Hugh and Anna, if you want to contribute, or you can just observe.
You can comment on the stage structure. Of course.
These guys wanted me to pop champagne before this session, and I'm like, you guys are fine. Right, I'm going to give Grace a wee few questions.
So just a question here. When things have felt tight or hard financially, mentally or personally, what have you guys done to sort of keep yourself on track and moving forward?
Apart from drink, which is the general consensus, it's always been, for me, it's once, like I said previously, it's never actually been about the money a little bit for me, but it's always been the challenge. So some of those hard years, it's actually quite, like these years are easier to farm, in my opinion. You're making plenty of money, you're doing quite well, but I actually still like the money, but I don't like the challenges of those poor years where you can sort of look at the business, reshape the business, try and slimline things, and I sort of quite like those challenges a little bit. So sometimes I've sort of taken those years and look back on them, and it's been that's what I sort of take out of those years a little bit. Definitely been some tough years though, but you seem to always get through.
Yeah, for me, I suppose. Sorry, can you just repeat the question? What happens when it gets mentally challenging, financially challenging? Is that how you get yourself through? Is that
what do you do to stay on track?
Communication, simple as that. If things are tight with the bank, if financially if things are tight, talk to your bank manager, build that relationship, and make sure make sure they know this position you're in. I think we've consider ourselves very lucky in the years that we've been farming on milk price, not contract milking, that we've had some pretty awesome years. So it's not been terrible, but and then if you're having a shit time, like it's the same thing, It's just like whatever the question is, rum is the answer. Just talk to your mates, just reach out and But like if you're having a shit time and you're down the dumps, like you need to lean on that support group again, That's probably the best way to get yourself through. If you lock yourself away in a room, or if you try and bury yourself in work, that's something you're probably not going to pull yourself out of very easily. Whereas if it's a mentally challenging time like calving or bad weather or droughts or whatever like that, burying yourself in work or burying yourself in and just burying your head in the sand isn't really the answer. I think it's getting out there, being social, and realizing that everyone's in the same position, or talking to your bank manager, or talking to your farm owner, or talking to someone. I think is always probably the best way to pull yourself through. I'd agree. Would you agree?
Yeah, we've been pretty fortunate. Like we're in our 4th season share milking now, so we haven't hit that $3.90 payout or had the hard times that some of these other guys have. But like there's times where things are mentally tough, and just talking to other farmers is always good. Sometimes you're like, oh, how are your cows milking? And they'll be like, oh, they're milking shit, and you're like, mine too. So it's like misery loves company sometimes. But yeah, just talking with friends and stuff like that, and just understanding what you're working towards is a bigger goal. There'll be times where you're out there checking cows and it's pissing down and it's dark and you've got to give a cow a bag, or it's conditions aren't going your way, but it's all working towards a big picture. Some days are nice and sunny and not cold like it is here in Waikato.
Are there any questions? Can we just get a mic to Rod? It's not good.
Start running.
Yeah, where do you all want to be in 10 years from now in the sort of perfect world there with your businesses? Does the guy with 2,000 cows want to be owning 10,000 cows or sold up or?
It's actually interesting. I'm at a crossroads in my life. I guess my main goal in life was always to have a passive income. So later on in life, I guess to do the work when you're young, and then I'd like to put a share milk on one day, and you've still got generating 300-400 grand, enough to sustain me. I guess I've probably for the first time in my life started spending money on myself. I'm trying to fly helicopters now. That's probably been a big thing that I can start doing my own. It's a bit more of my life, but that's probably where I'm at my crossroads. Just you still need a challenge, I think, every day to get up. So that's probably where market measure is probably good.
When I was at Bass's place, he's been doing a little bit of. They've done some work in their house, and he's been contouring the lawn outside. It's for a helicopter pad. So there you go. That's what he's going to be doing in 10 years' time. He wants a helicopter.
Looking down on himself. Sorry. Oh yeah. I suppose it's continue like we're at a crossroads as well, but in a different way. We're kind of at the start of the journey. So just keep expanding the business over 10 years. I think be very cognitive of the fact that we got a boy that's older than this. We got Fia, and we got one on the way. So, in 10 or 15 years, they'll be grown up and kind of ready to fly the nest. So you need to find I want to find a balance between that too. It's not growth at all costs. For us, realistically, without wanting to be greedy, I would like to. So we've just bought into our first farm. We'd like to add a second one to that, or continue, buy the one that we're on, are about to be on out, and then or grow that business even bigger. But this was. How about you?
Probably a big part for our business too is being able to pay it forward. I think that's been probably a big thing for me, just because we've been given opportunity, coming here from a fresh and starting from the beginning. Those key people that have given us opportunities on the way. I'd love to be able to put a share milker on, or give our manager now at the moment, he's going contract milking for the first time, and I think that's really for us, so that's really important, I think, as well. Like you have good people along the way. You can't do it all by yourself, so I think if you have those good people, being able to do that for them as well keeps things going. Like there's no need for us to be greedy and keep own the farm, and we can keep milking or whatever, but I think that's not the point. I think it's good to help pay it forward and bring those next people on and give them an opportunity too.
And that's not always financially. It can always be in their skill base and what we're doing and what Hugh and Anna are doing with their team. It's paying it forward, building knowledge, building capability. Yeah. And what about Steph and Chris? Where do you want to be in 10 years' time?
I think, in 10 years' time, in the next few years, hopefully we'll be in a position. We want to get ourselves into a position to be willing to take on like whatever opportunities come our way, I guess. Definitely in 10 years' time, I think, I'd be disappointed if we weren't in farm ownership. But it's hard to know exactly what opportunities might come our way. But if we're aggressively paying down debt as we are, and we have a good equity position in our business, and then other share milking jobs might open up, either bigger or a second or a lease farm, or there's so many different roads you can take. If we continue to do the basics well, pay down debt, and I think there's a lot of opportunities out there, and like the other people on this panel were proof of that. So we kind of look to where Hugh and Anna are, where Baz is. That's kind of where we'd like to be in 10 years. Because we're at least 10 years younger than Baz.
Following on from like the pathways chat we've been having, for other people that aren't in the dairy industry at the moment, do you think that there are viable pathways for the later converts to dairy coming from other careers?
When we arrived at the airport, when we arrived in New Zealand first, the first job we went to, we worked for 50/50 share milker, and the first thing she told us on the way down from the airport was, the 50/50 jobs are dying, there's no more 50/50 jobs, it's really hard for people to get them. And I was like, well, that's a bit shit, isn't it? I was like, oh fuck, that's a kick in the teeth, like Jesus. And then people have, like up to recently, people are like, oh yeah, no, you can't, it's hard for young people to buy farms, it's hard. The people are saying it's hard to do, but forever, and people are still doing it. So I think if you've got the right attitude and you get in there early, or get in there with the right attitude and you're disciplined enough, you can do it. Like, but there's always someone that'll say you can't, and there's always someone saying the industry's fucked, or it's like there's no, oh no, it's a corporate's going to take over or something. So I don't know.
There's definitely a huge pathway. It comes back to how hard you work. Your money's always been a big thing. People can't save money in this country, and staff and all the rest, and that's probably comes back to it. But it's the same thing. I sort of look at when we were young farmers. A lot of people said, "I'll never own a farm, And the amount of friends now at my age, all own farms now. It's pretty impressive. So I think it's easily feasible.
Hey, I'm an immigrant also, but I was lucky on Saturday night. We were at the Farm Industry Awards in Rotorua, and there was a lot of really high achieving couples there and people, but there was one that really stood out for me. There were a couple from Uruguay who arrived 10 years ago with a backpack and very little English, and they were awarded I think it was Craig is here, Craig from ASB. I think it was about $1 million. Low-interest loan for 3 years to go, equity partnership with their current employer. And I thought, wow, where else could you ever do anything like that? And that was just because I presume they just had a good work ethic and they knew how to run the business and do the right things. But it was bloody positive anyway.
So this is from Slido, rendition by me. There's been a theme here about people management. So this question relates to, have you always been a good people manager? Where does it sit in your skill set? Is this something you've learnt and developed on the way? How important has this been to your growing business? I think, Bas, you're definitely placed to answer this.
For me, it's developed. I guess when I look back when I first employed staff, I'd be so picky about every little thing. I like a perfectionist, and it pissed me off when they did little things, and I'd get annoyed. But now, as sad as it is, you got to let those things go, and that's how you sort of develop. it's a sad day those days. But yeah, I think it just becomes, you have to be you just have to be more flexible with people, work on their strengths. I've got 4 managers, and everyone's got strengths in different ways, and you've just got to work around that a little bit, I think, and that's probably strength that has had to grow a lot, and patience is probably the biggest one that's had to grow for me.
Has it meant that you've had to step back from a few things and let people choose their own path, or what have you done? How have you done it? Because this is a big question for a lot of people.
Generally, with my staff, I try and let them make the decisions themselves, and then if it's a stuff up, then I can say, this is probably how you should do it. Because one thing I learned when I was real young, I remember working on a farm, and the owner was hard on them all the time, and said, and I saw him, and I said, well, how's he supposed to know if you don't make the stuff up? If you make the stuff up yourself, you learn that that's the best way to learn. And I let them make those mistakes, and then then you can go to them and say to them, this is how you should have done. This is how I would have done it. Not always. I mean, if it's going to cost me a lot of money, I wouldn't do that. But just for this more basic stuff, it's how you how I've done it anyway.
Okay, here's another question. How do you evaluate opportunities? And how has this changed as your career has progressed?
What was the second part of that?
So how have you evaluated opportunities, and how has this changed? I think Eoin and Sian, so I don't want to volunteer you to answer this, but
Yeah, that's a trick. Who answered that? Who asked that question? God damn. Nice. Do it anonymously. As it comes towards you, like the best laid plans of mice and men, isn't it? You have all these visions of what you're going to do. In the next 5 years I'm going to be share milking. The next 10 years I'm going to own a farm. And the next 12 years I'm going to own 14 farms or something. It's ridiculous, but it's only till as they come towards you, and I suppose you have to ask the question to yourself: is this going to get me to the goal I want? So we kind of had to question ourselves. We did 4 years contract milking, and we're like, well, we've done pretty well on this farm. Is the 5th year going to do us any good? And the answer was no. So our decision was we were a 600 cow contract milker, and we were like, well, do we try and get a 900 or 1,000 cow contract milking job, or do we push ourselves to a smaller share milking job? And then we just had to work out like what's going to get us to our goals faster, and what's going to actually improve it, and what's scarier. And the contract milking was the easy decision to go bigger, but in reality, the scarier decision was to go share milking and buy our own herd and possibly leave where we were, as we were part of a corporate, and we still are. So that was it. Kind of how is it going to affect us, and how is it going to affect our goals, really? And is it going to get us to where we want? Is buying the beach batch going to get you to where you want when you're contractor share milk, or is it? You have to have that overarching goal. And if you're not achieving the goal, then fuck, why would you do it?
But how do you actually work out the nuts and bolts that allow you to make this
Budget.
take something on to budget?
Yeah, just do a budget.
I guess budgets are massive. I mean, the return on it's always the biggest thing, is if you're going to make money. But following on for that, probably resources. Like staff, I've always had staff, and then probably a lot of my growth has always been I've had a good guy, and you sort of want him to grow, so you put him into a job, or you see a job and you go, this is a good opportunity for you. So it sort of works quite well. But it's probably the big thing is also your own time, putting value your own time. You don't want to spread yourself too thin, and make sure it's still done properly. So it's probably always been, when you're looking at opportunities, if I can make it work within the business without putting stress on the rest of the business, and just utilising the resources I've got, it's probably the big one.
I would just say with opportunities that come, for us, it'd just be doing a budget on it. Does it work for us? Is this where we want to go? Same. Is it going to go towards our goals, or is it a sideways step or a backward step? Just making sure it's
We did a bit of projection as well when we're on a 450 cow farm now, and we were thinking we've been offered to go to 600. Is that actually the right next step for us? So we projected, what does it look like in a few years if we stay here? What does it look like in a few years if we move to the 600 cow job? And that really helped solidify our answer. And I think when we jumped from contract milking to share milking, it was a profitable contract milking job that we probably could have kept doing if we wanted to. But if an opportunity comes up to go share milking, we just had to grab that with both hands, because that doesn't come by that often where you get offered to go share milking.
And when you've got your budgets and you've reviewed them together, do you have an advisor or an accountant that you discuss it with, or do you just talk it with your mates over darts? Chris, what's the process?
Yeah, like I'd talk to my friends and stuff about possible job opportunities, but like there is, like, it's not always about the money. You could get an opportunity and you might go, oh, I might make an extra 80 grand with this move, but if you're not going to enjoy where you live and your partner hates it and stuff like that, then it's probably not, it's probably not worth that extra money. And so yeah, that's just, there's always other things to add in there. Run it by maybe some close friends, or talk to your accountant and your bank manager, and sometimes jobs seem good on paper, and you get there and you suss it out a bit more, and it's there's a reason why or whatever.
So do your homework, do your budgets, and talk to your mentors. I can't remember the question. A question from Slido. Oh, this is a good one. Anonymous.
No, it's not.
What do you see as the key opportunity for New Zealand dairy industry over the next 5 years? So this is us. We want to see some crystal ball gazing.
Is it in the industry itself, or is it the people in the industry?
Industry, anything.
I think I'll go for young people, and you can do the industry itself if that's right.
Yeah, no, we'll cover it.
I think there's going to be a huge opportunity out there for people that want to work hard. There's a lot of, I guess, older people getting out of farming, and I think anyone out there who actually really wants to make a go of it, man, there's going to be some opportunity. There's so many 65, 70-year-olds still farming, and small farms out there that you can see are going to come up soon. And I think that'll keep the prices at bay and keep a lot of opportunity out there for people. So I think it's going to be pretty big. If you've got some go there, you're going to do really well.
I agree. No, I suppose New Zealand dairy industry, even as a brand internationally, is incredibly highly valued. Our milk on the GT's worth more than everyone else's. There's a premium on that. We've got good rain, we've got good grass, there's still a world of opportunity out there. People still need more good milk. There's farms that are being underutilized, like, Bas has alluded to. There's a world of opportunity out there, the future is bright for the industry, I think.
100%, yep. And what do we need to do to ready ourselves to be prepared? Louis Pasture's quote about the prepared mind. What do we need to do to be ready to take those opportunities? What does it look like?
Set some goals. Yeah, like for young people out there, people like, let's say, that are managing farm assistants, contract milkers, or whatever. Like, you got to set some goals. You got to learn how, like as Bas said earlier, save money. Like, actually stop pissing your money away on not on Saturday night, on cars and shit. Still do the rum thing. But, I just, the BHAG, the big, hairy, audacious goal thing, that's a bit of industry words jargon. Just have a vision, and just, have fun, but don't fuck around too much,
And Chris and Steph, can you see any opportunities coming forward, whether in your business or in yeah.
I guess for other young people, sometimes older people seem to sometimes slag out, like younger people coming through, or you hear older people say, they don't work as hard or whatever, fill in the blank. But like, if you're a younger guy coming through and you're showing some initiative, and you're keen, and you're willing to work, and there's opportunities there, and there will always be opportunities for those people who make an effort. Just little things like, I've just started working with a new young fella. He's keen and stuff like that. But yesterday I said, we'll get cups on. Cups on was at 5:30. I assumed that he'd understand that to get cups on at 5:30, you'd have to be there before 5:30 to turn the plant on, or But it's like, a lot of them, it's like they'll turn up at 5:30 to start at 5:30. That's a little bit out of the question, but just something that annoyed me yesterday. But showing a bit of initiative and stuff like that. Yeah, I don't know if it's yeah. I'm not sure if that's just a young person thing or is it like a too much time on TikTok thing. I'm not sure.
Something for you to learn and take forward around there. Yeah.
Following on from that, are there any tips for ways to find opportunities versus waiting for them to come to you?
Once again, that was from Anonymous.
Typical.
Oh, from Lockie.
Oh, there we are.
Okay.
Get used to rejection. Get out there and find it. Like, people are going to tell you no. You know, you're going to knock on a door. I've knocked on doors that, the share milker's leaving, and you go knock on the door. All the farms will say, hey, would you lease to buy it? You know? And they're going to laugh you out of the room, probably. Nine times out of 10, if not more. But if you don't ask the question, then the answer is always no. You know? Like, just get used to being told no, you know? Because fuck them. The last time... You know, listen, we've all been single, eh? Like... you know, like, you're gonna get rejected, but you know, if you're gonna accept the first no, then you're screwed anyway. You know.
It doesn't stop when you get married, does it?
Gets worse.
So following on from that, looking back,
Both our wives are pregnant.
looking at the rate of growth in your business, have you been the one to be looking for opportunities, or have they come to you? And the second part of my question is, how have you continued to progress through the downturns? So there's two big parts of that. So have you been door knocking and turned down? Yeah?
Yeah, no, all the things I just said, I did all of those things. Yeah, knocked on doors randomly with a CV, like, hey, mate, you know, I heard you got a share milking job. Hey, you're selling the farm.
That's blazing. How about you, Bas?
Do you want to lease it?
Yeah, the same thing. I guess it's actually seeing opportunities and looking at these farms, and they're not for sale. Maybe they're up to leasing up on a share milker. Opportunities. Yeah, I mean, sort of following on from you before. One of the stupidest goals I learned is when you buy. You know, I can never say that damn quote. Is when you buy a car and you see the same car on the road all the time. When you actually set your goals, what you want to achieve, then you actually start looking for these opportunities and finding them in different ways. So if you're actually setting those goals, then you actually know what you're looking for. But I still, what was the question again?
And how have you kept growing in downturns? Year on year, you've kept growing.
Yeah, I guess I'm always looking big picture, I suppose. So you'd never, I mean, some of those down years have been the best years for me. So I bought cows cheap. It's always been tough, in all fairness, because I've never had enough security. So that's another issue on its own. You're always trying to find ways to find security or to fill the gap or to make it work if it's leasing cows. There's so many ways to skin a cat, and that's probably been the biggest thing. But I guess one of the things, Hugh made a note of it, but timing's never always right. It's never been right for me, but you just got to, as long as that's part of your big picture, you just go for it and make it work, and then, fill in the gaps later.
Now, before I hand over to Scott Armour for our closing address for our event, if there's one thing that you could send someone away with today, what would it be? If they're feeling unsure about their future or might be a few years behind you, what is one thing that you can send them with today?
I'll give them two things. First one is always just like push yourself out of your comfort zone. Like, just, if it's scary, it's probably good. You know, if it seems a little easy, then you're probably not pushing yourself hard enough. And then the second thing is most people are full of shit. So, and I did put a bit of thought into this one. And I stand by my statement. No, it's just be aware that when you talk to someone in the pub and they tell you, like, you know, Chris said it earlier, like, you talk to someone and you say, like, oh, my cow's milking like shit. It's like, yeah, me too. Also, like, we kind of live in the Instagram era and the filters and you know, putting your best self forward. So it's very easy, and I've fallen into this. I'm talking from personal experience about looking at people who've achieved things, and you see things, you read articles about people, and they're like, they came out of uni and they did 2 years OE, and then they did 14 minutes contract milking, and then they bought 1,000 cows share milking, and you're like, how the fuck did you do that? And what am I doing wrong? You know, that's always the case. It's like, how? But in those articles, it never tells you there's a bit of support. There's absolutely nothing wrong with support, but if you don't have it, it feels like it's an unachievable goal. And they'll always skip that little thing that where they got a little bit of help that made the difference. So to my younger self, I'd say just take it with a lot of what people say. They're, take it with a grain of salt. Their cows, they'll always put 0.2 of milk solid on their cows. They'll always put 5% on the submission rate. They are full of shit because you're putting your best self forward. We live in that time. That's for me. So just chances are we're all doing the same thing. We're all having the same problems. So just be aware of that. Don't get down just because you think someone's doing these amazing things that you're not. Chances are there's something happening in the background as well.
I've covered it. Like I said, timing's half time's good and works well for the business. Other half it doesn't work out and just creates strength in the business. So I think it's just timing's just do it. Some people always procrastinate, and I think that's the biggest thing. Just go for it. And setting goals. I used to hate setting goals in ITO, just all the time goal setting. But when I look back at it, it actually got some value to it.
I mean, look at him. Ferguson's.
Yeah, just getting into it as soon as you can. Possibly, I remember talking to Hugh when I was not even managing a farm. He goes, "Oh, you just got to go shear milking. You just got to get into it. Just got to go shear milking. That's all you need to do." I was as soon as possible, and I was just like, "Yeah," and I had no idea how I was supposed to do that. I was like, but you carry on talking to other people and stuff like that, and save your money, get yourself into a position where you can make that leap, and and just don't look back, and just keep biting off more than you can chew, and just keep trying to push through, really, and just keep farming.
And
hang on, Steph's going to go.
Oh, sorry, Steph.
I would just say, as someone who's trying to figure out their part in the business as well, and that might look differently in other couples, so you don't have to be two farmers on farm every day. You can make other styles of your business work as long as you're willing to make it work and willing to figure out where those skill gaps are, where your value could be added, and go from there. Maybe you wish you did marry someone who was on farm every day.
You guys are a great example of that.
Well, maybe whose parents own farms, but that's what you meant. But no, Steph's always worked off farm, and that's helped us tremendously as well. So yeah, choose a good partner, I guess.
There's a funny saying: if you choose the right partner, she'll double your equity in 5 years. Or she'll have it. Okay, Owen wants to have one last comment.
I suppose another thing from experience from being with people at the same level, and working your way through with young farmers and whatever, there's a couple of people I know that went real hard, real fast. They're climbed the ladder real fast, and they absolutely just murder themselves. They're contract milking. They've got 2 staff less than they have to because look at all this money they're saving. They're paying back the herd in a year. Then they go share milking, and next thing, 2 years later, they've quit. Yeah. They're gone, and you're like, where the fuck did he go? Like, what's because they're burnt out. They've killed themselves. It's a hell of a long journey, and it's a journey that I don't think any of us want to finish prematurely. You want to get there till the end, really. So just be careful about murder. You're not going to do it in the first 5 minutes. So it's an endurance event, really.
Wonderful. What a fabulous session. Thank you guys for having a few laughs and sharing your secrets. I'm sure a lot of us have taken away your final wishes with them today. You can see why this is the most popular session. Thank you. I'm going to welcome Scott Armour now. He is going to finish with a closing remark for today.
G'day all. I actually signed off a meeting early, and I somehow landed to this task a few weeks ago, which is thank you, Robbie, for the nominating me for this. Quickly thank Steph and Grace and the panellists here for stepping up. It is always a great session and great to see a bit of humour in today's one. Care of you there, Baz. look, I think probably one of the comments that resonated with me the most was Owen's comment around surrounding yourself with good people and learning from them. I really enjoyed that because that is the way I've always learned personally. And I think we look here today, we've got Hugh and Anna as outstanding operators, and we're all here to learn from them. So I want to quickly put on a bit of a thank you to you guys for opening up your business, putting everything on show. One of the Pasture Summit committee this morning referenced it as opening up your onion drawer for everyone to see. So it's a brave thing to have 250 people come to your farm trying to pick holes and have a look and see what you're doing. So thank you guys very much. And if I give a quick round of applause for these guys for putting that. Thanks also to Steph and Anne in particular on the Pasture Summit committee. You guys do an absolute mountain of work. I don't know, Anne, you're over there somewhere. And it certainly doesn't go unnoticed. Like these days just would not happen without you guys. So, and it's very much the engine room within the Pasture Summit. So thank you guys individually for your guys' contributions and efforts. I hope, Anne, you can hear me here somewhere. She hidden away. Thank her on the way out. Yeah. And obviously the Pasture Summit themselves for the efforts you guys put in. It's all volunteer time. I won't name everybody because there's quite a few of us now. But just a thanks for the efforts that goes through with this. And probably also worth a shout out to the sponsors. So particularly our headline sponsors, DairyNZ and ASB. Again, just cannot have these days without you guys, both financial and paid in kind contributions. It makes for a massive day. Finally, to everyone coming, thanks all. There's actually lots of familiar faces that we've seen over the last few years, so it's great to see people finding these sessions really valuable and wanting to come back time and time again. And so Anne doesn't ground me as well. Sorry, one last thing of admin, because I missed it in my further bit. Feedback forms on the back of your sheets, thank you, Alicia, and we could give the lanyards back on the way out. So thanks all for coming. I hope we'll see a whole heap of you are back again for the spring event next season. I say next year, next season. Only thinking financial years, sorry. Thanks again, and just one more round of applause for panelists, committee, and Hugh and Anna.